Hey everybody, Matt Malden with Apollo Acres here. As you can see, I've got a lot of electric netting set up here for our sheep and our chickens running about, but I do not have it electrified yet. So I figured this was a good opportunity to demonstrate the technique and some of the tools you need to set up a portable electric fence and how it really just doesn't take that long. So one of the first things you're going to realize that you need when you want to electrify some electric fencing is an energizer. So let me show you one of these. So I really like getting the solar ones. If you have a more permanent setup, you can get one that will plug into a standard AC outlet. And that's very nice if you can do it. But because I don't have power throughout my field, I really like the solar ones. And if you can, I would highly recommend getting one a lot stronger than you think you need. If you've ever used any of those FRS walkie-talkie type radios advertise something like 36 miles of range, and you know under most conditions you're never going to get more than maybe like 2 miles, that's sort of how these work. And it's not necessarily because it's physically incapable of what they advertise, but they're advertising under optimal conditions about a single line of electric wire that has absolutely no grounding in it, is perfectly conductive, and everything is all rosy. And in most cases, you're gonna have parts where the grass is touching your electric fence a little bit. And in most cases, you're probably gonna wanna run more than one electric line. Especially if you're doing the netting, it's got, I don't know, at least 8 wires on it, depending on which kind of netting you get. So go ahead and go bigger than you need. It doesn't have to be this one, but I have really liked the Gallagher products I've found so far. And I'll have a link to all of these products in the description below. So regardless of whether you get solar, AC, whatever, you're gonna have a place to mount it. If you're out in the field with a solar energizer, a lot of these you can just set on the ground if you have nice short grass and everything, and just make sure you're facing it south to maximize the amount of sunlight you're gonna get. My grass sometimes it's kind of taller, and there's you may have trees or the fencing itself or whatever in the way. So I really like to go ahead and just put a T-post in the ground. It's a little bit of a pain to move these around, but a lot of these solar energizers will have this little fitting that will go on top of a T-post at different angles. So you don't have to worry too much about like, okay, what's the orientation of my T-post? You can kind of just put it in, and you can probably get it close enough to south to be sufficient. So I like that. And just a reminder, if you're going out to the field, you've got your T-post to set up your solar energizer. Don't forget you will need some kind of tool to pound that T-post into the ground. In a pinch, you can get away with a sledgehammer, but man, these things really make it a lot easier of a job. So get you one of these. All right, so the next thing you'll need to know is you will need grounding rods. So the way that these electric fences work is they will send out a pulse of electricity typically every 3 seconds. They used to make a lot of these that were continuous, and that proved to be very dangerous. One, for people, once it started shocking, well, people or animals or whoever, once it started shocking, you know, it makes your muscles tense up and it's harder to let go. So that was a big problem. And also they would use them to, some farmers like them because it would literally burn the weeds off of the fence. So they didn't have to go by and trim the vines and stuff off of their electric fence. But as you can imagine, that also frequently started forest fires. So I don't even think you can find those anymore. And if you can, stay away from it. You don't want it anyways. So most of these zap about every 3 seconds. And so what happens is these energizers, they've got a positive terminal with a clamp. Some of them will come with a clamp, some won't. So if you get an energizer, make sure you have some way to connect these terminals But like I said, most will come with it. You've got your positive terminal, and that's gonna attach to your fence. And then you've got your negative terminal, your ground, and that's gonna attach to ground rods that you need in the ground. So the idea is that with this attached to the ground, this attached to the fence, ideally, if you don't have any brush touching the wire or whatever, the circuit is not complete until somebody or some animal comes over and touches the fence and the ground at the same time. They have now completed that circuit and they will be shocked. So one thing to keep in mind for poultry, if they're flying up in the air or a sheep is kind of jumping over it or through your electric fence, they may not get shocked. One, because if they're moving fast enough, it may just be bad timing because this only zaps about every 3 seconds. And two, if they're not grounded, they're not gonna get shocked. So just some things to keep in mind. Now, you can get ground rods from any hardware store. You know, I think they're typically about 6 feet long and you can pound them way down in the ground. And that works, I would say that works well if you have a more permanent setup. But if you're doing a temporary setup and, you know, this rotational grazing and you're gonna be moving your energizer around a good bit, then I would highly recommend getting something like this. This is, I think, a 3-foot ground rod. And you notice it's got this nice T on top. And it even has a little hole there if you want to thread your wire through there. But otherwise, you know, you'll take your ground rod, you'll have your clamp, you'll pound this into the ground, then you'll take the clamp from your energizer and you'll just clip it on your ground rod. But the reason I like these T's is you pound these into the ground and you can actually remove these relatively easily. Try pounding a 6-foot ground rod 6 feet into the ground and pulling it out by hand. It's not fun. So I usually pound these probably at least 2 feet in. I'll leave a few inches above just so I can see it and makes it easier to clip and everything. So like I said, you can get 6-foot ones and that may work better. But with my little experiment I've done in the past, this may not be very scientific, but I used my fence tester and tested it before and after. And I found, for me, using 2 of these daisy chained together was a more effective ground than 1 6 feet down. Take that, you know, like I said, maybe not real scientific of a test. I tried it once, and 2 of these is way easier to pull and move around than 1 6-foot ground rod. While I'm holding this one, I'll show you. I've got these little clamps. These are very handy to have around. So like I said, I'm going to daisy chain these 2, which means I'm just gonna connect one to the other with this little clamp. And they'll be about 2 feet apart. And then I'll connect my energizer negative, my energizer ground, to one of these. And now they will both be grounded into the ground and I'll have a nice, good ground. That's one good thing about farming. It keeps you well grounded. Ha. All right. So when you put your ground rods in, you're also going to need a hammer. And I would go ahead and get a nice big hammer if you have one. I found one-handed sledgehammer, I forget how many pounds this is, 2 or 3 pounds or something, is pretty good for the job. But use what you've got. And let's not forget to be safe and bring some gloves with you, some hearing protection and some eye protection. Let's get it done. So you can see I have my energizer set up, my 2 ground rods in, and they are connected with some clamp cable here. And I've got a cable on the positive end running to my 2 electric fences, which are also daisy chained together right there where I have it connected. And so now this whole fence going around the chickens is hot and the fence going around the sheep is hot. So I have my psychological barrier installed. This will quickly train them. The sheep already know, but they're kind of new to this this type of netted fencing. So they've been testing it a little bit, so this will get them trained back in no time. It will also train these chicks at a young age, which is going to be very beneficial, I believe. I tested it with, I've got one of these pretty inexpensive analog fence testers. And so these are pretty inexpensive. You just take, if I can get it, they'll have this little piece that you can just stick into the ground, and then you just put this little hook on your fence, and it's got these lights. These little LEDs will light up to how many kilovolts you're at. This was maxing out. This was going all the way up to, well, it says 7,000 volts, so 7 kilovolts, and that's about where you want for sheep at about a minimum. So that's good. Now, I will say this is sometimes a little hard to read in the daylight. We're getting close to the sunset, so it was very easy for me to see tonight. But that's also why I've got my little digital one here. And the same thing, it's got this little probe. You just shove it down into the ground, and then it's got a clamp on the other end. You can clamp on your cable with a little digital display, and it'll display in tenths of kilovolts. So I really like this. It wasn't much more, I don't know, maybe 30 bucks, something like that, than the other one. So I would probably just go and get this, since it's a lot easier to see in the daylight. I would also try to keep this handy. You're gonna wanna test your fence pretty regularly. You don't wanna wait until animals are running loose. It's not a lot of fun, so go and test frequently. If you're testing and you notice that it's at a very low voltage or not reading at all, check your connections really well and check to see where your fence is grounded out. So there's a lot of places where I've got a lot of grass touching the fence, and that's not ideal, where the fence is kind of sagging, so I'll need to tighten that up. I could get a higher voltage reading. If you're coming close to your T-post or another metal fencing, that will also short out your fence. So make sure you're not tying this into another metal fence, or at least don't let it touch. So that about covers it. As you can tell of that time, that was a 10-minute time lapse. I installed all of this. I tested it with 2 different fence testers, and then I sat down for half of it to watch the sunset. So it's not that hard. You can do it. This is a good way to do regenerative farming, to rotate your animals. Very easy, and don't be intimidated by it. As a reminder, for most of the tools and equipment you saw, I'll have links in the description below. I'm not too particular about the brands or anything of the link, but it'll give you a good idea of where to start and what to look for. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you learned something and enjoyed it. If you'd like to support this channel and us making more content like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you'd like to follow us on X or Instagram, where we're most active, you can find our handles in the video description below. We'll also have a link to our website and many of the products and hardware that we use here on the farm that work so well for us. See you next time.